I think we kind of forget that we control situations by the way we react as well as what we put into any situation. Because sometimes, when there's a fire burning, you could either be water putting that thing out, or you could be gasoline making it worse. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a clip for you guys. It's by the King Shane 17 underscore, and it says, "When you realize you're always arguing because your wife has too much masculine energy." For those who know what masculine energy is, or because you're not familiar with internet culture, it's basically when you, the individual, come across as more man, and a particular type of man, like domineering, wanting to take control of the situation, assertive, versus a more woman, feminine. And so let's see how this interaction between a wife and a husband is gonna go. Yikes. Yo is crazy work. And on top of that, like right when he clearly has a problem with that, she just doubles down and then says, "Get up. You need to get up right now. I need you to get up right now." And I'm like, okay, that's like suddenly the love of my life, the other half, my better half, has turned into my boss. That's crazy work. And so naturally, he puts up the red flag. Hold on. This is not how this should go. Now, some people may not have a problem with this, but everything is, I guess, art is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. What happens when you is in his situation? It doesn't even have to be a married couple. It could be just a friend talking to you any kind of way. Like, would you be okay with that? Of course not. It's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold off all that. Like, I'm not even trying to like assert my dominance or whatever. It's more so, why are you acting like that towards me? I thought we were on good terms. And some people actually do live with this type of situation. Guys, we gotta have conflict resolution. We get sometimes I assume some people will probably side with her, not just because of they agree with her, but more so maybe they're trying to imprint some sort of previous bad experience between these two to justify this behavior. But realistically, we shouldn't do that. Like we shouldn't use previous situations to justify bad behavior, especially when, again, there's a better way. We can just talk this out, hash out our differences, because we want to be on good terms. But this is wild. I ain't even finna lie. Like justification. You're on your phone, just sitting there, help me with the baby. And I'm like, okay, even if you're right, like, why are you coming across as just aggressive? Golly, 3 times. You usually have 3 strikes, and you're not out, but it's like you hit on the third one, but it's like it just gets worse. Like my goodness. But hey, there's some people in these types of dynamics where, the Bible talks a lot about a wife and how a problematic wife can actually be the bitter end of her husband because it's just so bad. A quarrelsome housewife verse on Scream. But man, that's rough.
Yo, can you get up and make the baby a bottle right now? Like, since you came in the house, you just been sitting down. It's no hold on. Get up, make the baby a bottle now.
I don't know who you think you're talking
right now,
to. You're not talking to me like that. I'm not doing nothing when you're talking to me like that. Learn how to talk to people. Show some respect. I'm not doing that. Yo?
Bro, can you get up off your phone and make the baby a bottle?
First of all, I'm not your bro. I'm not your bro. You don't know to talk. That's why we keep having a problem. Learn how to respect me and learn to talk better. Thank you.
I'm just sick of you always on your phone not doing that. You need to make the baby a bottle now.
You don't even know what I'm doing. Now, what are you talking to?
Now, I need you to make the baby.
I'm not talking to you. You're not talking like that.
Hi, babe. What are you doing?
I was just doing this campaign for the business real quick.
Oh, okay.
How you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm a bit tired, and I wanted to ask if you can make the baby a bottle.
Of course, baby. I
Please.
made the bottle. I made the bottle right now. I got
Thank you.
I love you.
And so that seems to be the right way of going about a situation. Let's see what the comments have to say before we get into the text. Now then, the first comment says, we're just going to zoom in on it. No, sir, because you are acting like a child. Well, so the first comment, woman does not agree with this, but let's see. Second comment says, why is it so hard for women to learn this? Good question. You know, no, like some people may see that and think, oh, so what you're saying is I gotta treat you like a babe. No, it's like there's a right way of going about any type of situation, and wanting somebody to do something for you while also talking down to them is wicked work. is diabolical. Let's see. Next comment says, if she wouldn't talk to her boss like that, why is she talking to you like that? That is interesting. Now, obviously, is the man the boss of the household? Well, let's I always say, hey, let's listen to the Bible. I have to say on that, but overall, I would say there's an interesting way of how you treat somebody who allegedly just gives you some sort of wage, like some sort of bi-weekly wage, versus the love of your life, and that is something problematic if you treat them a bit better than you treat your folks at home. Now then, let's see. The difference between the soft feminine voice can make the difference the soft feminine voice can make in a man's life. That is true. And so right off the bat, some of the comments disagreeing, some of the comments agreeing, but what does the Bible say? Well, in Proverbs chapter 15 verses 1 and 2, it details this exact scenario on how to go about it. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. You can't just come across like rude and disrespectful because you feel like you on that King Von energy. It really matters in building a unity in a household, because that's what it's all about, right? You want this dynamic to be better. You want him to pick up his clothes and he wants you to wash the dishes. Well, you gotta treat each other like you guys matter, like you guys have your own kind of respect for each other, right? It also says the tongue of the wise commends knowledge, but the mouths of fools pour out folly. Guys, there is a way of speaking to people, and it's not just necessarily what you say, it's also how you say it. And so let's keep moving. Now then, Matthew chapter 5 verses 7. This is the Beatitudes of Jesus Christ. You know that when he gave that great sermon. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Bitter envy and striving does tend to cause you to act toward people a certain way. You gotta confront it with how Christ is, his character. We are undeserving of his mercy and grace, so therefore we should be a bit more forgiving and merciful to people, because that's what it's all about. That's what allows these good situations to happen, when we're more charitable, when we know how to interact in a situation and thus influence it in a better way. I kid you not, people that mercy is a weakness. You know, showing grace is just disrespectful to yourself, but that's actually the greatest of honors, the greatest of virtues. And so next is Galatians chapter 5 verse 6. For in Christ Jesus neither circumcision nor uncircumcision counts for anything, but only faith working through love. I put this verse here because, you know, we tend to look at things as transactional, and that's how the Jews saw it back 2,000 years ago, right? Yes, we like to get salvation. We need to do this transactional. We do this. We now are owed salvation. Well, people treat their relationships like this. It's so transactional, where it's like, I do this, you're supposed to do that. Why aren't you doing that? Blah, 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 blah. Guys, it's not about the relationships stand not on the transactions, but rather the motivation behind the transactions, the communication, the cooperation behind the transaction. That's why I love that it says, hey, neither of these doing this practice or not doing this practice is worth nothing. What is worth the most is faith, so faithfulness, right? working, so this obviously means it's being applied through love. Because what good is faithfulness if you guys don't feel that love for each other, right? If you guys don't appreciate what you do for each other, if you guys don't, well, want to build upon that. And so that's why I love that verse. Now then, a verse about unity. I love this. Ephesians chapter 4 verses 1 through 3. I therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called. God has called all of us who love Jesus Christ and the example of Jesus Christ. So naturally, let's act like it, with all humility and gentleness. We gotta remain humble. I mean, life could change in but a moment, right? Like many of us find that out the hard way. And so, naturally, having a bit more humility toward one another, that's what builds relationships. Gentleness. You gotta be gentle with people. Like, even if they can take it. Because it's not about whether or not they can endure the harshness. It's about building upon that bond and strengthening it instead of whittling away with bitterness. Some of you guys chisel away at each other's patience so much that y'all can't even have a conversation after 10 years. And that's diabolical. But let's see. With patience, bearing one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. I like that. Eager, meaning ready, defending, pushing for this, eager to maintain the unity. We have something here. We're building on something here, so we need to protect it, we need to defend it, and we need to cultivate it in the bond of peace. Right? We can't just defend it when it's war times, when it's go time, when it's crunch time. No, when it's all the time. And why does all this matter? Well, all the Bible is about godliness and about a particular dynamic between God and his people, which the Bible in this verse calls it a mystery. But let's keep reading. In Ephesians chapter 5 verses 32 to 33, this mystery is profound, and I am saying that it refers to Christ and his church. Verse 33, however, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. This is what it's all been building up to. Why do you want unity? Why does all this matter? Well, firstly, because history is Christ's story, so his story, and his story is about showing mankind his glory, and thus us reflecting that glory in the way we treat each other. Christ is worth respect, so the man's worth respect. The church is obviously worth dying for, so your wife is worth dying for. Love each other and have respect for your roles. Right, you guys are in this dynamic, and it's beautiful. Mothers and fathers, husband and wife. It's an amazing thing, but we got to build upon it. We got to protect it. If anything, it's what you do when you don't have to do that. That builds that and further polishes that beautiful harmony you guys have, versus the things that you have to do because you have to do this because it's a framework of how this is supposed to go. But with that being said, that's all I have to say here. Hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys treat your wives or your husbands amazing, because I love to see marriages. I hate to see divorces. It sucks, but it happens. With that being said, God bless and stay blessed, and see you guys in the next one. Take care.